Alright, let's talk about some old games. No, not retro old, but games that still hit hard today. Games that quietly teach modern titles a lesson, whether developers like it or not. So yeah, here are 10 old games you seriously need to play right now. Number 1. Titanfall 2. Alright, let's talk about what is quite possibly the greatest single-player FPS campaign ever made. And now, that's not an exaggeration. Respawn didn't just improve the movement shooter formula, they perfected it. Wall running, slide hopping, double jumps, everything feels so smooth and natural that going back to other shooters makes them feel slow and heavy by comparison. But the real heart of Titanfall 2 is the bond between pilot Jack Cooper and his Titan BT-7274. I never expected to get emotionally attached to a giant robot, but BT is iconic. His dry, robotic humor and his unwavering protect the pilot directive genuinely make you care. Every mission introduces a new mechanic, ideas most games would build an entire title around, and then the game casually moves on to something even better in the next level. And yes, Effect and Cause, the time-shifting mission, is still a straight-up masterclass in level design. The campaign is short, focused, and has zero filler, just pure distilled fun from the first drop to the final credits. And if you've never felt the rush of calling a Titan down from orbit and stepping into that cockpit as the music swells, you haven't truly lived. Titanfall 2 is a masterpiece, and it's a tragedy it launched between Battlefield and Call of Duty because it absolutely smokes both of them.
Number 2, Battlefield 1. And finally, we end with Battlefield 1, a game that didn't just arrive, it silenced the room. When that first trailer dropped, everyone knew this was different. We were going back to World War I, a setting most shooters avoided, and DICE absolutely nailed the tone. This isn't a power fantasy, it's not heroic or glamorous. It's brutal, terrifying, tragic, and strangely beautiful. The sound design is still unmatched. The sharp crack of a bolt-action rifle, the raw scream of a bayonet charge, the distant, thunderous roar of a behemoth zeppelin tearing through the sky, it's bone-chilling. Battlefield 1 is one of the very few shooters that makes you stop mid-match just to listen to the war unfolding around you. The War Stories campaign was a brilliant choice. Instead of one long narrative, it shows the scale of the Great War through different human perspectives. A tank crew crawling across France, a lone pilot soaring over the Alps, soldiers fighting for survival rather than glory. It's respectful, emotional, and visually stunning in a way few military shooters ever attempt. Even today, the destruction and level design make many modern shooters feel static and lifeless. Watching buildings crumble in real time as mustard gas floods the streets is peak immersion. The battlefield feels alive and hostile. I also love the weight of the gameplay. The weapons feel old, heavy, and imperfect in the best way possible. Reloads are slow, shots matter. Every firefight feels desperate, like it should. Battlefield 1 is a masterclass in atmosphere. It proves you don't need futuristic gadgets or sci-fi gimmicks to create a compelling single-player or multiplayer experience. All you need is vision, restraint, and respect for the setting. This isn't just a shooter, it's an experience. And even years later, nothing else feels quite like it. Man, Max Payne 3? Where do you even begin? I still remember booting this up for the first time and being completely floored by the Euphoria physics engine. Even today, the way Max slams into the ground when you shoot dodge feels heavy, real. It's not some canned animation. You actually feel the impact of every fall, every hit. The story drags Max all the way to Brazil, and somehow he's still the same broken, cynical wreck we remember. Older, worse, and drowning in regret. His internal monologues hit like dark poetry, full of self-loathing and bitter humor. And honestly, James McCaffrey's voice acting, RIP to a legend, is the soul of this game. No one else could have carried Max Payne the way he did. And the gunplay? In my opinion, it's still the best Rockstar has ever made. It's tight, it's punishing, and bullet time never gets old. Every single bullet is modeled. You see shell casings flying through the air, glass shattering in slow motion, bodies reacting dynamically to every shot. It's pure cinematic bliss. One thing that always stuck with me was how the game transitions from cutscenes to gameplay. No loading screens, no hard cuts, just seamless momentum that keeps the tension alive from start to finish. If you want a shooter that feels adult, doesn't hold your hand, and respects your intelligence, Max Payne 3 is a masterclass. It's gritty, it's sweaty, and it proves that a tightly crafted linear experience can absolutely destroy open world bloat any day of the week. This isn't just a game, it's Rockstar at their most focused. And honestly, we don't get shooters like this anymore. Number 4. Batman Arkham Knight. If you want to talk about a game that still feels like it's from the future, we have to talk about Arkham Knight. I'm not exaggerating. Every time I boot this up in 2026, I genuinely have to remind myself it launched back in 2015. The visuals are pure atmosphere. Rain beating off Batman's suit, neon lights reflecting in Gotham's puddles, smoke, shadows, and darkness wrapping around the city. It's cinematic in a way most games still can't touch. Gliding across the skyline and seamlessly dropping straight into the Batmobile is one of the most perfect superhero power fantasies ever created. Yeah, some people felt there was too much Batmobile combat, but honestly, this is Batman at his absolute peak. The scale, the confidence, the dominance, it all fits. And the free-flow combat here is the best the series has ever been. Fast, brutal, and surgical. Pull off a 50-hit combo without getting touched, and you don't feel like you're playing Batman, you are Batman. The story takes a dark, psychological dive straight into Bruce Wayne's mind. It's heavy, personal, and constantly messes with your head. The introduction of the Arkham Knight as a new villain keeps you guessing, while old wounds are ripped wide open. But my personal favorite part is stealth. Picking thugs off one by one from the shadows, watching them panic, hearing the fear creep into their voices, it never gets old. This is Predator gameplay perfected. Arkham Knight is the ultimate Batman simulator, and even after all these years, no other superhero game has matched this level of polish, atmosphere, and gritty detail. And yeah, part of me still wishes he was alive. Number 5. Infamous Second Son. Man, this was one of the first games that made me realize what the PS4 era was really going to be about. Even by 2026 standards, the particle effects in this game are still insane. When Delsin absorbs neon or smoke and you see thousands of glowing embers and light rays dancing across the screen, it's pure eye candy. I remember just running around Seattle at night, deliberately hitting every neon sign I could just to watch the reflections shimmer on the wet asphalt. The game has this vibrant, rebellious energy that I honestly haven't felt in a superhero game since. Delsin might be a bit of a smartass, but his relationship with his brother Reggie feels surprisingly grounded and emotional. It gives the story a human core that really works. Gameplay-wise, it's all about flow. Turning into smoke to dash through a vent and popping out onto a rooftop never stops feeling good. Everything connects smoothly, making traversal just as fun as combat. Now, I'll say this, the karma system is still pretty black and white. You're either a full-on hero or a complete menace. But the different power sets you unlock keep things fresh right up until the end, and each one changes how you approach fights in meaningful ways. Infamous Second Son is fast, flashy, and ridiculously fun. It's a stylish sandbox that makes you feel like a literal god, wearing a denim vest. If you want a game that still looks incredible and plays like a dream, this one is mandatory. Number 6. Sleeping Dogs. If there's one game on this list I'll defend forever, it's this one. It's hands down the best GTA-style game that isn't GTA. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop infiltrating the Sun On Yi triads in Hong Kong, and the story feels like a top-tier John Woo crime movie. But what really sells it is the atmosphere. The rain-soaked streets, neon signs, crowded night markets, and street food stalls. The city feels dense, alive, and more believable than most massive open worlds today. The combat is the real star. It's Arkham-inspired, but way more brutal, smashing enemies into environmental hazards, using car doors, fans, or railings. It's visceral and incredibly satisfying. The driving has a tight arcade-like feel too, making high-speed chases through narrow alleys an absolute blast. Between karaoke, underground fights, and side activities, it's easy to lose hours just living in the city. And honestly, it still hurts that we never got a sequel. Wei Shen is a deeply conflicted character caught between two worlds. Sleeping Dogs has heart, style, a killer soundtrack, and a world you don't want to leave. Don't let this one stay a hidden gem in your library.
Number 7, Mafia II. Finally, we close out with a true cinematic masterpiece, Mafia II. This isn't your typical open-world game filled with endless side quests. It's a focused, gritty crime drama. Set across several years, you watch Empire Bay transform from snowy post-war winters in the 1940s to sunny rock-and-roll 1950s. The environmental storytelling alone is one of the coolest shifts in gaming history. You play as Vito Scaletta, climbing the ranks of the mob in a story that's gripping, heartbreaking, and all about loyalty and the cost of this life. The attention to detail is insane. Classic cars, period-accurate radio stations, clothing, and city life all feel authentic. The gunplay is weighty and dangerous. You can't just charge into the open. One mistake and you'll get shredded. And the vibes? Man, the vibes are unmatched. Driving through the snow with Let It Snow on the radio, knowing you're on your way to carry out a hit for the family, that tension is cinematic gold. Mafia II knows exactly what it wants to be, a playable mob movie. Its linear structure keeps the story tight and the pacing perfect. If you love The Godfather or Goodfellas, experiencing Vito's journey isn't optional, it's essential. It's classy, brutal, and unforgettable. Number 8, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yeah, I know. One of the rockiest launches in gaming history. But the redemption arc of Battlefront 2 is nothing short of legendary. If you look at this game today, it's easily the most complete and visually stunning Star Wars experience ever made. The sheer scale of galactic assault is breathtaking. Fighting across Naboo, Hoth, and Geonosis feels like you've stepped straight into the films. I'll never forget the first time I spawned in as Darth Maul and heard that double-bladed lightsaber ignite. The sound design in this game is flawless. Blasters, engines, lightsabers, it's pure Star Wars, and it still gives me goosebumps every single time. It's fan service, but done right. The single-player campaign was a pleasant surprise too. Following Iden Versio and Inferno Squad, it works as a solid bridge between the movies. The story plays things a bit safe, sure, but flying a TIE fighter through the wreckage of the Death Star or walking the streets of Vardos is a dream come true for any fan. One of the best additions came later with instant action. Massive battles, offline, with bots that actually fight back. You can recreate huge Star Wars moments or invent your own without needing a full lobby. Battlefront 2 is the game it was always meant to be. A massive Star Wars toy box where every what-if scenario from a galaxy far, far away can come to life. It's gorgeous, it's loud, and after everything, it finally became the Star Wars game we deserved.
Number 9, Crysis Remastered. But can it run Crysis? That meme defined an entire generation, and Crysis Remastered reminds us exactly why. Even years later, the tropical jungles of the Lingshan Islands still look better than 90% of games releasing today. The lighting, the foliage, the scale, it's ridiculous how well this game has aged. And the physics engine is still a straight-up flex. Punch a wooden shack and watch planks explode outward. Flip on strength mode and casually throw a North Korean soldier into his own squad. It's chaos in the best way possible. Crysis is basically a superhero game disguised as a tactical shooter. The freedom it gives you to approach objectives is still top tier. Go loud, go stealthy, become a ghost in the jungle, or an unstoppable force. The nanosuit is the real star here. Instantly switching from cloak to maximum armor mid-firefight makes you feel like a predator hunting prey. Few games make you feel this powerful while still demanding smart positioning and awareness. Now, I'll be honest, the AI can be a little too eagle-eyed, spotting you through bushes from way too far out.
and the alien-heavy sections toward the end can get frustrating. But that first half of the game, the open-ended jungle sandbox, that's pure FPS gold. Crysis was built for the future, and now that we're finally living in that future, it still stands as a technical and mechanical marvel. This is a must-play, not just for fun, but to see where modern shooters got their DNA.
Number 10. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. Alright, if there's one mechanic modern gaming desperately needs to steal, it's the Nemesis system. I've had real, personal grudges against orcs in this game. No joke. I still remember this one guy, Pug the Unashamed, who just refused to stay dead. Every time I thought I was done with him, he'd crawl back from the grave, scarred, angrier, and somehow even more annoying, just to ruin my day. And that's the magic of it. The world doesn't just exist around you, it reacts to you. Talion and Celebrimbor are a solid duo, sure, but let's be honest. The orcs are the real stars of the show. Their personalities, their rivalries, the insane trash talk, those weirdly specific insults, it's genius. Every captain feels like their own character, climbing the ranks, betraying each other, remembering how you beat them or how they beat you. And the scale? The fortress sieges still blow my mind, leading an army of Uruks and Ologs, smashing through massive gates while a fire-breathing Drake circles overhead. It's pure, unfiltered Lord of the Rings hype. Few games make you feel like a warlord quite like this. The combat follows that Arkham-style flow, smooth, rhythmic, but with a much more brutal, decapitation-heavy twist. It's violent, fast, and ridiculously satisfying once you get into the rhythm. Now, yeah, I'll admit it, the map can get a little cluttered with icons. That's definitely an old-school open-world trope, but the gameplay loop is so addictive you honestly stop caring. What really sets Shadow of War apart is this: losing is often more interesting than winning. Getting killed doesn't mean failure, it means you've just created a brand new nemesis, a new villain in your personal story. That's why this game still feels special. It's a sandbox of chaos, fueled by player-driven stories, and it feels fresh every single time you pick it up. And honestly, modern games are still chasing what Shadow of War already figured out years ago. Hey fellas, and that's the list. 10 old-school games still teaching modern titles how it's done. Now it's your turn. I want to know, which game is your all-time favorite? Or is there a hidden classic I totally missed that everyone needs to play before they die? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, and let's get a conversation going. I read every single one. Who knows? Your pick might end up inspiring the next video.